Today is Friday, November 10th, and the New York Jets are going to Las Vegas to face the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday night. And Steve Serby wrote a couple of great columns at the New York Post about the Jets, and I wanted to talk to him about those columns. Steve, how you doing, man?
Good, Ryan. How about you?
I'm doing well. And since the last time we spoke, it was going into the Jets-Giants game, and you were spot on with your predictions about the Jets beating the Giants by 3 points, and it would be an ugly game, and this offense continues to struggle, like we talked about in that last video. But since then, this Jets offense, Zach Wilson, it's just not producing right now, and it's becoming the fans are getting very antsy, obviously, because this is a repeat of last season. Now Zach Wilson, the offense, they aren't producing enough. The defense is playing great. It's the same story here, Steve. So what's going on with Robert Saleh and this Jets coaching staff? Are they going to make a change if this offense continues to struggle this Sunday night against the Raiders?
I think they're going to have to. I mean, the Jets are scoring 16.5 points a game. Only the Patriots at 15 points a game, and the Tommy DeVito Giants now at 11.2 points per game. It's a wonder that Giant-Jet game didn't end in a 0-0 overtime tie. But look, Zach has regressed. Let's face it. He seems to be. He says he's seeing the field better than he's ever seen it, but he's been skittish. He's been afraid to make a mistake. He's playing scared. He's thrown 5 touchdowns all season with 5 interceptions. He's got a great defense that could have his back. He should feel more liberated than he looks. But 1 touchdown pass in the last 4 games. Look, they're 4-4. Same old story that Robert Saleh gave us a year ago. Well, Zach's winning games, but the team is winning games in spite of Zach Wilson. And they can't keep trotting out an offense that scores maybe 16 points a game. At some point, push will come to shove, and Robert Saleh will need to turn to Tim Boyle or Trevor Siemien, if only for a spark, if only to tell his team that, yeah, I see what's going on. Something has to give, and it's the quarterback position that has to give.
Yeah, Steve, I think the two big things that stand out to me about this Jets offense right now is that the pre-snap penalties are an absolute killer. They're playing behind the chains, which is what you never want to do on offense. The other thing is that it's an historically bad third down offense. They are the worst since 1978 when they started calculating how good teams are on third down. And that's the bother for me, is that I think that Zach, it's so conservative the way they call this offense around him. And it feels like they try and tell him, just don't turn the ball over. Just that's the only thing we're asking you to do. Operate in the offense, but don't turn the ball over. Don't make a mistake, and we'll somehow scrounge a couple of points enough for us to earn our defense to win. And it doesn't. You can't win football games like that anymore. You can't. So I think those are the two big things that stand out to me from this offense. And my question to follow up here is that, let's say the Jets struggle in the first half and they only score 3 points in the first half. Zach looks like he's struggling again. He can't get the offense to move. There's a ton of pre-snap penalties, and he's missing guys like he did last week against the Chargers. Could Robert Saleh finally pull the trigger at halftime, and let's say second half, and say, I'm going to go to Tim Boyle, or maybe they activate Trevor Siemien before Sunday's game?
Well, it doesn't sound like he wants to do that. And of course, the higher-ups would rather not do that. Joe Douglas made Zach Wilson the second overall pick a couple of years ago, and that was a big miss, obviously. But there is no conspiracy theory about keeping Zach Wilson in. It's up to Robert Saleh to recognize the problem. And yes, if the Raiders jump on the Jets and Zach Wilson is again imploding, then I think it would behoove Robert Saleh, who has not lost his locker room. Kudos to him for keeping it together. But at some point, he's playing with fire. Yeah. If Zach Wilson can't get out of his own way, and Nathaniel Hackett cannot find a way to help him get out of his own way behind that ever changing,
Offensive
battered
line.
offensive line, which doesn't help either. So, look, my suggestion, it's very simple. I'm no offensive coordinator, but you've got Brees Hall, right? You've got Garrett
Mhm.
Wilson. You've got Xavier Gibson. Get the ball in the hands of your playmakers.
Yeah.
Last week, Brees Hall was only targeted 4 times in the passing game.
Mhm.
I've been a big proponent of using him the way the Chargers use Austin Eckler. Get the ball to him in space and let him do his thing. So, and Garrett Wilson has been targeted plenty.
Yeah.
Just keep feeding him.
Yep.
Keep feeding him. Alan Lazard has struggled. McCole Hardman is no longer with the Jets.
Bringing
Xavier
up
Gibson can do some of those things that McCole Hardman was supposed to do. These are your playmakers. Get the ball out of your hands. Those half of those sacks last week against the Chargers
so long.
were because Zach Wilson kept holding the ball. And don't take a sack out of field goal range, for
Yeah.
crying out loud.
Brutal.
So that's the Serby plan. Very simple. Get the ball to Brees Hall in the passing game and in the running game. Get him 20 touches a game and keep on feeding Garrett Wilson and get Xavier Gibson more involved. That's not so hard, is it?
It's not. You wouldn't think it is. You wouldn't think it is, Steve, the way we see offenses run across the entire NFL. It's a struggle continuously for this Jets team. It's now been 3.
But get the ball out of your hand.
Yeah.
Don't keep waiting for the perfect progression.
That's the part that kills me is I feels like with Zach Wilson, he waits for the receiver always to be open. It's you know this. You've been covering the game forever. When you see the quarterback and that a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, let's say, play in an advanced style, he's throwing guys open. He's not waiting for guys open. So that's the other part of that game. I think that Zach Wilson, you may be better at your footwork. You may be better at, you feel more confident seeing the field, but that processing there has to be quicker. And that's the part that's really, it feels like it's been a huge struggle for Zach Wilson.
You're a Jets fan, right?
I am.
Now, it must be maddening and infuriating to you.
No idea.
To see what CJ Stroud is doing as a rookie, right?
It's unreal.
Yeah. And by the same token, where is the Zach Wilson who we thought was turning a corner when he outplayed Patrick Mahomes?
In the Chiefs game, yeah.
Where is that? Can we please locate that person?
I don't know. I don't know, Steve. I really don't. I mean, I understand Robert Saleh. He's going to continue to play excuse after excuse for Zach in these pressers and saying it's not all on the quarterback. It's all these other things, pre-snap penalties. We can get guys open more. Alan Lazard can stop dropping balls. That's all granted true. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the quarterback. And if the quarterback can execute the offense at a high level and move the ball and move the chains and continue to have a good offense, that's what it comes down to. There's a common denominator here, and I think you know this as well. In Mike LaFleur's offense the last 2 seasons, when Zach Wilson wasn't playing, when it was any other quarterback, the offense moved. The ball moved. It worked. I don't know why, but it does. We actually do know why. It's because Zach Wilson. Steve, the other column that you wrote that I want to touch on here is that, speaking of wide receivers, and this wide receiver room is not as good as we thought it was besides Garrett Wilson, considering the struggles of Alan Lazard. The Jets reportedly were interested in trading for Davante Adams, who's an absolute stud, was playing, obviously, Aaron Rodgers' best friend in Green Bay. They had some historical combination of matchups and stats they put up in all those years, and the Jets tried for him. The Raiders said no. You spoke to a couple of Jets players about the possibility if in this upcoming offseason, the Jets can get a guy like Davante Adams onto this team, how special he could be with this Jets team. So, Steve, what more can you say about the players you spoke to on the Jets team about the possibility of Davante Adams possibly being traded to the Jets?
Well, obviously, to a man, they would love to play with Davante Adams, and who would? Number one being Aaron Rodgers. I mean, could you imagine a reunion, Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams? And Aaron Rodgers is calling a lot of shots over there in Jetland. You better believe he's going to want to twist Joe Douglas's arm to try to pull off a trade. Now, the Jets do have their number 1 pick next year because Aaron Rodgers obviously is not going to play 65% of the snaps. So, look, Joe Douglas has been trying to land another elite receiver. Remember, he tried for Deebo Samuel. He
Yep.
tried for Tyreek Hill
Hill. Yep.
before Hill signed with the Dolphins. Mike Evans,
Yep.
he's interested in him, and who wouldn't be?
Right.
I think he's got 8 1,000-yard seasons in a
Yeah.
row.
He's put up unreal numbers.
But even the former Packers who are on the current Jets roster, the former Packer receivers, Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb, of course, they would love to see Davante Adams in green and white. What's better than one Garrett Wilson is two Garrett Wilsons. Aaron Rodgers made that comparison back in training camp, the way they both are so quick their release off the line of scrimmage is beyond elite. And Davante Adams is 31, and he's tailed off this year, but that's been an absolute circus over there in Las Vegas with the coaching changes, and Davante Adams is clearly not happy there after his buddy Derek Carr left for New Orleans, his Fresno State buddy. So, and he caught one ball for 11 yards a couple of weeks ago, slammed his helmet on the sidelines. You better believe he would love to have this reunion with Aaron Rodgers. And yeah, who wouldn't want to sign up for that? Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson. And that would be as good a combo as A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in Philadelphia, and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins in Cincinnati. And let's one other thing that Michael Carter, the running back, reminded me of. Garrett Wilson is already on record saying he doesn't need number 17. He wants number 5, his jersey at Ohio State next season. He wants to wear number 5. So Davante Adams will have his number 17 available for him.
Look at that.
How about that?
How about that?
So, yeah, look, it won't come cheap, obviously, in the form of draft picks and salary and whatnot. But Davante Adams was traded for the 22nd and the 53rd pick when the Packers dealt him to the Raiders. But whatever, look, the Super Bowl window is here and now for Woody Johnson and the Jets. So if you can get at Davante Adams for Aaron Rodgers, do it. Do it. Find a way to do it at any cost, at virtually any cost.
Virtually any cost. That's the key right there. He would be a deadly combination, obviously, if you had Wilson and Davante Adams on that offense with Breece Hall. I mean, that would be special, and that would be probably one of the most electric offenses the Jets have ever had, considering it's not been a great history of offense for this team.
Yeah, well, of course, they still have to fix the offensive line, of course.
Yeah.
But I look at Robert Saleh summed it up when he said at his press conference this week, it's not the greatest show on turf. And as I wrote, it's not the greatest show on any surface. It's the greatest no-show on any surface.
It really has. It really has. Steve, final thing for you. Prediction Sunday night. We talked about Jets Giants. You got anything for me for Jets Raiders? Do you see how this game? Do you have a feel for it?
I'm actually picking the Jets 2-0. No, I'm just kidding. Look, the Raiders are fired up under Antonio Pierce, who the former Giants middle linebacker. Aiden O'Connell looks like a decent rookie quarterback. Looks like he's got a future. The Jet defense will be trying to stop, first and foremost, Josh Jacobs, and then try to make Aiden O'Connell beat them. But I think the Jets defense, their goal is to help Zach Wilson by scoring a touchdown. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it?
It would be.
So let's say Bryce Hall scored one in Denver. Who's your pick to score one this week? Let's give them a defensive touchdown. Who's going to score it?
I'm going to go with a guy that's been getting some flack this week from an ESPN Monday night announcer. Quinnen Williams scoop and score touchdown this week off a sack fumble from Bryce Huff, let's say.
Quinnen, I didn't tell Troy Aikman I'm a decoy Williams.
How about that?
I'm going to go with the other Williams, Quincy
Ooh,
Williams. That's my pick.
I like that.
But I like
that.
the Jets. Let's say 20, I hate to give them 20 points,
20
but
points?
well, if the defense scores a touchdown,
Yeah, it's true.
20 to 17.
Sounds like a great Sunday night
Another
matchup to me.
3-point Jet win.
Sounds
What do
like
you think? What do you
great-
think of my pick? 20?
I'm hammering the Jets -3 now because you told me to. So listen.
Well, no, don't blame me for your financial defeat.
I won't blame you. I won't blame you, but I trust you because you predicted it last time. Steve, you're the man. Appreciate you as always for breaking down all the Jets news and content that they constantly give us, man. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Ryan. Good luck Sunday night when you watch your Jets.